what it is that you are testifying to. That's the first condition. And then there's a second condition. The second condition of the Shahada is there must be certainty of faith. What does that mean? That means you must not have any doubts at all about what you're testifying to. We need to understand, guys, that in Islam, any kind of doubt is equivalent to disbelief. We must be certain of what we believe in our hearts, guys. We cannot be Muslim and say we believe in Allah when you're questioning that in your heart. Allah mentions this in the Quran. Allah tells us in the interpretation of the meaning, the true believers are those only who believe in Allah and His Messenger. And afterward they have no doubts, but they strive with their money and their lives for the cause of Allah. Subhanallah. If you're sitting there doubting whether or not Jesus is Allah's son, then your testimony is not even accepted. If you're sitting there doubting, is it true that there's a hereafter, your testimony of faith is not accepted. If you're sitting there doubting whether or not the angels are part of the unseen world, then your testimony of faith is not accepted. In order for it to be accepted, there must be complete sincerity, no doubt, and no uncertainty of faith. And this is a problem with Muslims today, guys. So many Muslims today are lacking. They are lacking in their certainty of faith. When the Prophet ﷺ made the statement that anyone who meets Allah with the testimony of faith that there is none worthy of worship but Him and that I am His messenger, and has no doubt about that statement, will enter paradise, we need to understand the key word is no doubt. No doubt. If you're sitting around questioning the Sunnah, and this is a big thing, we're sitting around questioning the Sunnah, you're questioning what the Prophet ﷺ had to say about things, then your testimony of faith is invalidated. If you're questioning the fact that you're supposed to obey the Prophet ﷺ and obey Allah, then your testimony of faith is not accepted. Remember, guys, the hypocrites will be in the lowest levels of the hellfire. And who are the hypocrites? Allah describes who the hypocrites are. Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning, they alone seek leave of thee who believe in Allah on the last day, and their hearts feel doubt. So the hypocrites are those people who have doubt and uncertainty of faith in their hearts. That's a hypocrite. If a person is sitting around claiming to be a Muslim, but he's questioning his belief, he's questioning basic things about this religion, then that person is not a believer, he's just a hypocrite. I had a woman here at this website a year ago. I had to kick a person out of here and ban her, because she was Muslim, so she claims, but she was coming here to this class here, my Tawheed class, and she was questioning everything that I was teaching. And I remember we were talking about the hadith where Allah is jealous, how Allah gets jealous of anyone who tries to compete with Him. She had the nerve to question that hadith. And then we went on another hadith about how Allah says He gets angry. She was questioning whether or not Allah gets angry. So I just finally told her, I said, sister, you have issues. You're sitting here interrupting my class, questioning everything that I'm teaching here. And what I'm teaching is basic Aqeedah. I told her, you have issues that you need to take to the prayer rug and take up with Allah. And I banned her from here. Because in my opinion, her Shahada is null and void. She may claim to be a Muslim all she wants to, but she got too much doubt in her heart. She's questioning everything Allah says. She's questioning everything the prophet says. She has all this uncertainty. So she needs to really go check herself. And I banned her because people like that don't need to be here. The hypocrites make it hard for the rest of the people because they will cause you to end up doubting things too. Okay? And also, guys, understand, if a person has knowledge of the religion and if he has certainty of faith, then the next condition comes easy. And that condition is acceptance. Acceptance. In order to be truly a person who accepts this religion, you have to have knowledge of what you're testifying to, be certain of it, and then will come acceptance. And that acceptance is displayed not only with the tongue, but also with the heart. Okay? So thus, your shahada is not a true shahada unless you have acceptance not only with the tongue, but with the heart too. That means you accept everything that Allah says. You cannot be sitting there questioning things. You accept everything Allah says. Allah says you cannot arch your eyebrows. So you accept it. Allah says that a man must wear a beard. You accept it. Allah says that a man can have 4 wives. You accept that. Allah says a woman must cover her head and her body. You accept that. You cannot call yourself a Muslim and you're sitting up picking bits and pieces to accept and reject. For example, look at some of those sisters on MySpace. They had the big debate about hijab. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. How can you call yourself a Muslim and you sit up and say that the hijab is not obligatory when Allah commands you to cover up? You can't sit there and reject certain parts of this religion. To reject any part of this religion makes you an unbeliever, guys. It invalidates your shahada. So all those women on MySpace who are sitting around thinking that they don't have to wear hijab to be Muslim, their shahada is invalidated. And Allah speaks about this in the Quran. Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, do you believe in part of the book and then you reject other parts? And what is the reward of those who do so except ignominy in the life of this world? And on the day of judgment, they will be consigned to the most grievous doom. You can't sit around accepting and rejecting parts of this religion, guys. If you truly believe in Allah, if you truly meet the conditions of shahada, then that means that you accept everything Allah says, even if you don't understand it. Even if you don't understand why Allah made it lawful for a man to have 4 wives, you accept that it's a part of this religion. That doesn't mean that you have to go along with it. But what it means is you don't reject it. Yes, polygamy is a part of my religion. And it's not called the principle. It's called polygamy. It's called a man can have more than 1 wife. That's a part of Islam. Okay? Now, whether I choose to be a part of a polygamous situation, that's something different. But I am not going to deny that it is a part of my religion, and I have no shame about it. Because it's better than what you non-Muslims do. You non-Muslims fornicate and adulterate. We don't fornicate. We adulterate. We don't adulterate. We marry. I don't have to worry about my husband having an affair with my babysitter. I don't have to worry about my husband having an affair with the male woman. I don't have to worry about my husband having an affair with my next door neighbor. Because if my husband wants to have another woman, he'll marry her. He'll come to me and he'll say, Layla, I'm taking on a second wife. That means he has to provide for her and maintain her the same way he does me. So I'm not ashamed of my religion. We believe in polygamy, not adultery or fornication. Okay, that's called acceptance. Acceptance.